The Mets lost Wednesday to the Chicago White Sox. The sky is not falling. The White Sox win baseball games. They've won now 18 of them this season. It happens. So everyone just calm down. The Mets lose 9-4. Brandon Waddell wore one as he gave up a bunch of runs in relief, but 5 innings, saved the bullpen on Wednesday. Now they get a day off Thursday, and this tax bullpen can get a little bit of a breather. Griffin Canning was due for a stinker. It didn't help that the defense didn't help him either. So Griffin Canning has been remarkable this season. At some point, you knew he wasn't going to be great in an outing. Today was the day. Today was just a weird day for the Mets. Starting with the fact that this was a 7 p.m. game that had to get moved to 1 p.m. because rain was coming. And then rain did come towards the end of the game. So it rained down on the Mets. It was orange and blue skies on Sunday for the Mets and Knicks. It was gray skies on Tuesday night for the Knicks. And it was gray skies for the Mets on Wednesday. But in the end, they take 2 out of 3. And for the people who are pissed off saying they should have swept, this weekend you should sweep. The Colorado Rockies are one of maybe the worst team in the history of baseball this year. They have to sweep the Rockies. I expected 2 out of 3 White Sox. You just weren't going to sweep. It's obviously frustrating when Monday Adrian Hauser shuts you down, but you did win. It's frustrating when a guy that you used to have in your farm system, Mike Vasil, comes in and does a good job shutting you down on Wednesday. But in the end, 2 out of 3. You got Jared Young's first homer on Tuesday. You got Pete Alonso 1 homer closer to breaking the all-time Mets home run record. He's 17 away from passing Darryl Strawberry. Despite the base running blunder with Nimmo and Soto and what happened with that weird play on Tuesday, the Mets took 2 out of 3. It wasn't a pretty series, but you get a much-needed day off Thursday. You take any day you can at this point. With how the weather's been up and down, with guys being hurt, and you're trying to get guys back from injuries, you'll take Thursday, relax, regroup, and then sweep the Rockies this weekend. You got the Rockies, you got the Dodgers, you got the Rockies again. This is a stretch where versus the Rockies, you should win 5 out of 6, and hopefully you split with the Dodgers and take 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, and you're looking at a team that is still a dozen-plus games over 500 as they are right now. Unfortunately for them, the Phillies are just raking, and the Phillies are tearing it up. But you can't worry about what other teams are doing. Just win series and sweep the Rockies this weekend. You're watching Mets Daily. I'm your host, Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Radio. Please subscribe to the channel. Over 1,500 memberships launching tomorrow. Thank you so much for the support. Smash that thumbs up. It helps. Comment below. Are you concerned after the loss on Wednesday? Are you concerned about the offense? The runners in scoring position thing is real. This team 2 for 12, again, runner in scoring position on Wednesday. They struggled to get runners home, especially with less than 2 outs, is where I get pissed off. And, you got a lot of Met fans on Twitter and just in the world that think Eric Chavez should be fired. And listen, I don't think it would make that much of a difference firing him. These guys just have to be better. And Gary Cohen said on the broadcast how Chavez met with the players and they had a meeting and they talked about, what to fix here with the running the scoring position. Who knows what it is? Is it the approach? Is it choking up? Is it as simple as Chavez and Mendoza doing my favorite thing and, God forbid, trying to lay down a bunt sometimes? I've never seen a team bunt as little as the Mets do. And I'm sorry. You learn bunting in Little League. Like, there's certain times where I'm thinking second and third, and if they're playing back in the infield, lay down a freaking bunt and get that runner home. Sometimes you got to try something different, see if it works, because it ain't working what you're doing. And I know it sounds like, oh, no, they don't bunt. Players don't bunt. Why sacrifice an out? The analytics say don't sacrifice an out. Well, you're sacrificing outs anyway because you're not hitting. So what's bunting and sacrificing an out at this point? So we'll see if the approach changes. If they fire Chavez, okay, I'm fine with it. But, you have to be realistic. They're 12 games over 500. One of the best teams at home in baseball. One of the best teams in baseball. Yes, they've had slip-ups this month. They haven't been untouchable. Their offense has struggled, but are you really going to fire a hitting coach 12 games over 500? The Orioles fired their manager because they have been wildly disappointing and way under 500. I just don't see a world where David Stearns and company are going to say, you're not cutting it, you're gone. Now, if they get to, say if they're 12 over, say if they're at 500 in 3 weeks, yes, I think you fire them and the offense keeps it up like this. But on May 28th to do that, I don't see it. The question is it approach? Is it reinforcements? They're trying out Jared Young. Good for him for homering the other night. They're trying out different things with the lineup. Brett Beatty has still continued to impress. Do you start Luis Torrens more than Francisco Alvarez? It's been almost even at this point. You're starting to see Torrens start sometimes 3 times a week. They've tried different lineups. Nimmo in the 2-hole. I'm fine with that. Soto in the 3. They're trying different things, but is it choking up in the batter bunting? I don't know. But I don't think firing Chavez is the answer. So I don't think he's on the hot seat. Let me know in the comments below. Should the Mets fire Eric Chavez? What do you think? And it might take reinforcements. Now, they signed someone who may be in reinforcement at some point this season, an infielder, David Villar, to a minor league deal. Villar was on the San Francisco Giants. He was designated for assignment last week. This season, he was 4 for 20 in 9 games, 200 with a 360 on base. More importantly, in the minor leagues, Villar this year has a 368 average of 439 on base in 15 games, a homer, 7 RBIs. So Villar's the guy who's played mostly first, some second and third. He's played 3 different infield positions. Is he a guy at some point that is a depth piece for this Mets team? I always talk about with David Stearns, he's so good at finding depth and those roster spots, 26 through 40, and guys that could be reinforcements if there's injuries. Can Villar be that guy? Probably not, but it doesn't hurt. They lose Genesis Cabrera, who ends up signing with the Cubs. Remember, the Mets DFA'd him. He goes to the Cubs, so they lose a lefty reliever. He's gone. Not that he was great, but you don't have him in the organization anymore, so that's unfortunate. You add in VR. I've said it. I think at some point here, you got to consider Ronnie Mauricio. Whether it's next week, the week after, won't be against the Rockies this weekend. But he continues to tear it up. 2 more hits today in AAA. He's just hitting the cover off the ball there. And I think he's got to be an option. Jesse Winker is not anywhere near coming back yet. Jose Siri, not really. Again, probably end of the month for those guys. Why not see what you got with Ronnie Mauricio now before those guys are back? Because, listen, it's not like Siri was tearing the cover off the ball, and neither was Winker when they were here. Starling Marte's not. I know Marte's got a little bit hot the last couple weeks. Mark Vientos homer, that was a good sign Wednesday, but he has struggled this season. Maybe it's more than, approaches. Maybe it's kicking these guys in the rear end and saying, we got some other reinforcements coming. And maybe one of those guys, Ronnie Mauricio. I would love to see Ronnie here. Acuna's come down to earth. He has not been playing as much, but we know what Jeff McNeil is. He's a 230, 240 hitter. Doesn't hit for a ton of power. Not that clutch. Very average defender. I don't know. I don't think it would hurt to see Ronnie at this point. I know the Mets don't want to rush it here. They don't want to get him up to have to just call him down in a week. But in the month of June is where I'm targeting at this point. If this offense continues with run and scoring position, for us to see Ronnie Mauricio back in Queens. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Tweet me at Jake Brown Radio. Tweet the show at Mets Daily Show. Memberships tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to get everybody involved here. Be part of the party. Exclusive benefits. Giveaways coming. Lots of stuff with the Mets Daily membership. So thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel. Share Mets Daily. Smash that thumbs up and comment below. A day off tomorrow on Thursday, May 29th for the Mets. The Rockies come to town. And like I said, take care of business against the Rockies. They're next level bad. The White Sox are bad, but have some good young talent. They scratched out a win Wednesday. Mets got to sweep the Rockies. And they play them 6 times in the next week and a half. You probably should win 5 or all 6 of those and get fat against teams that are just historically bad. So no worries here in Mets land. The team's still 12 games over, guys. Don't stress out. I know you want to sweep, but all is okay. The Mets will get it done this weekend. Griffin Canning, he's allowed a bad start once in a while. Today was just a weird, bad weather, game moved up kind of day. So thank you so much for watching Mets Daily on this hump day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Appreciate it. Peace. Let's go, Mets.